so excited that next semester the B-Bell Lab is going to be all official with several students running to work with me. So I'm really excited about that. But when I told people, I heard a lot of like, oh, I can't wait to see all the cutting edge research you're going to do. Well, don't hold your breath, because that's not the kind of research that you do at a place like this. At a primarily undergraduate institution like St. Mary's, the focus of the research is really on giving the students an opportunity to do research, to develop themselves as independent scientists and independent thinkers, to give them practice with all these skills like PCR and gels and all these things, but really to give them the ability to think critically through experiments, to work in a lab, to establish the confidence to approach scientific problems, and to get to be the one driving the wheel. So things are going to go a lot slower than if you were at a place where the focus is all in research all the time. And there you would have a lot of fancy-dancy equipment. Instead, at a place like this, you know that things are going to go slow because the undergraduates, this is their first time doing all this stuff. And we don't have that fancy-dancy equipment. We don't have 5,000 high-end instruments down the hall. Instead, we have to be more creative. We get to do things like figure out how to do things on a budget without the fancy equipment. And so one of the main focuses in my lab is actually going to be trying to develop techniques and methods so that we can study things like ribosomes and translation without needing fancy equipment like ultracentrifuges with gradient makers and biocomps and all this fancy-dancy equipment to study things like translation, to study things like ribosomes. Instead, let's figure out ways we can do it on a budget and enable other people to do this research at their institutions. So I don't expect like cutting edge research findings from us, but the skills instead of the scientists that maybe they'll go on, and this will empower them to go on to get graduates, to do a graduate education, to do medical education, all these different things where basically maybe they'll be the ones that go and make those cutting edge discoveries. And by being able to train a number of different scientists, and each of them will then go off and do some amazing things, and maybe they'll train other scientists. I feel like this way I can make a larger difference than just making one small incremental finding in the lab. So yeah, maybe we'll find some really cool stuff in the lab, and that would be awesome, especially because the undergraduates would have this really great experience and this really great thing like, yeah, I discovered something when I was an undergrad. Isn't that awesome? But my focus really is on the students, and the research is really to help them develop the confidence, develop the research skills, develop just a sense of belonging in science. So getting involved with undergrad research was super duper important for me when I was an undergrad. It helped set me on the path, and my mentor, Dr. Jeff Sigmund, really just made me feel like anything was possible and that I could be a scientist. And I'm so grateful, and I'm paying it forward. And so I just can't wait. So B-Bell Lab coming spring 2024, spring 2024. Stay tuned.